What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? It's your boy Enlightened Luciferian Prince coming at y'all once again. Welcome, welcome, people. Thank y'all for viewing my channel. Thank y'all for viewing the content and staying tuned so I can keep on dropping this heat where the heat is due. Now, if you're watching this video around children, please remove them from your immediate vicinity, as my videos are not for children. So we already got that out the way. That's cool. Now, if indeed you do need legal advice, I say again, this is not for legal advice. This is for generation, and I always say generation. So general, but we're going to keep it real because it's going to be signs of the times for the ages to come. So I'm allowed a mistake on that one, but maybe it wasn't. This is for general, informational, and educational purposes only. So if you need an attorney, go get you one. Go hire one and do your thing. It is what it is. Over here, we love to read. And we're going to keep cooking. Now, I'm going to touch on this again. And the reason why I want to touch on this again is because I want to elaborate so I can clarify the topic of this video. Now, the topic of this video particularly is called tender of payment, okay? Tender of payment. So I want you to understand that and know that the tender of payment is simply this. You are making a payment. According to Bill of Exchange Act, you can look that up yourself, or you can look up in Black's Law Dictionary, negotiable instruments. All right, people? So now that we have this totally legally defined, let us go ahead and dispel the darkness. Now, me, myself, I particularly, I printed out UCC 3-603, which is tender of payment, right? Clearly, in and of itself, it says simply this. UCC 3-603 is tender of payment. This is what it reads, people. A, if a tender of payment of an obligation to pay an instrument is made to a person entitled to enforce the instrument, the effect of tender is governed by principles of law applicable to tender of payment under a simple contract, i.e. Bill of Exchange, promissory note. You see what I'm saying? So simple. But B, if tender of payment of an obligation to pay an instrument is made to a person entitled to enforce the instrument and the tender is refused, there is discharge. To the extent of the amount of the tender of the obligation of an endorser or accommodation party, being you, the individual who signed the documentation, having a right of recourse with respect to the obligation to which the tender relates. Now, that comes from UCC 3-603. Now, what it's basically saying in legalese, but in simple legalese, is if you are an individual who signs a contract and a person requires some form of payment, but it doesn't specify, then particularly what you have to understand is that you have the right with recourse to basically make up your own negotiable instrument. Promissory note, bill of exchange, whatever you could use at your behest, at your disposal to use for your own personal purposes. Why do I say this, people? Because I want you to understand one very intricate thing that I'm getting ready to say with regards to this commercial process, right? And I'm just going to make a very simple, but just profound statement. Let's say, for instance, that you get, hey, love. Let's say, for instance, that you get particularly a notice or a statement, right? And they say particularly, let's just say, they say you owe $5,000, right? That's cool, right? That is A-okay. So let us just say that we write down $5,000 in the respect sense of, thank you, in the respective sense that it's actually 5,000 in and of itself will be, you can't see it, but let's just say 5,000. But if you notice, whenever they send you something that says like 5,000, it's always in the positive. If you actually did owe, and one small symbol makes a world of difference, right? Here we go. Boom. Now I'm gonna make it so you can actually see it for what it's worth. Let me hold it to the camera. This is what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to have a negative sign at the back, meaning there is a deficit. But if you ever receive any type of bill or statement that doesn't have this at the end as far as a minus sign, then it's in the positive. Now here's the kicker. The reality behind the payment is the contract is that basically when they access your trust, i.e., usage of your social or any other means in regards to that, and has your personal information, they have what they need. They are to receive their remedy. The thing that most people don't know about most contracts, especially unilateral contracts, and the reason why most contracts are one signature contracts, is because one signature contracts only can be enforced against you. That is the trick of it all, people. Once you sign a unilateral contract, whoever extended the contract to you is not responsible. It's solely on you. Now, if it was a bilateral contract with two signatures or two signing parties, then the liability will equally be dispersed. But no, people, I want you to understand the trick behind these contracts. These contracts particularly are totally to keep you, the natural person, liable. And the reality behind it all is the simple fact of the matter is just that they know this. You don't, but now you do. So whenever you have a one signature, don't throw that away, love. That's like it's that you messed up the sound.
No, I'm about to grab this.
Yeah, but you coming close to the mic and you messed up
I was
the sound.
about to put it in there.
Okay. But anyway, basically, once you sign it, you're totally stuck with the liability. Simple as that. So knowing how to endorse the contract, knowing how to particularly say, well, you know what, this can be negotiated in respects to, I'm either going to A, tender payment, or B, I'm going to go ahead and pursue validation of debt, which that in and of itself is something that should be addressed in this video as well. A validation of debt is one of them situations where what you have to understand is that a statement and a bill are two different things. Now, if you actually look up true bill in the legal sense of what it means as far as a true bill is concerned, let's look at the legal definition of true bill. It's the equivalent of basically, it's like a criminal prosecution in and of itself. So when you look up true bill, you understand that this is the nature of what a debt is. Hence that the spelling of the terminology when people always use the time when they say particularly you owe your debt to society. Well, this is where it comes from, realistically, like straight. And I want you to pay close attention to this because a true bill is just this in legalistic sense. Now, it will say a bill of indictment found by a grand jury to be supported by sufficient evidence to justify the hearing of a case, right? Now, you'd be like, well, what does this have to do with actual bills? Because, again, anytime a case is actually prosecuted, there has to be what? An indictment. An indictment is an accusation. It's a statement. It's a claim to somebody saying, alleged, making a statement according to the charges. Notice that these are all financial terms. Keep in mind what it is meant by true bill. True bill, the written decision of a grand jury signed by a grand jury for a person that has heard sufficient evidence from the prosecution to believe that the accused person probably committed a crime and should be indicted. This should show you clearly that an indictment is a three-party draft, like a check, okay? Because the state is the bank, the prosecutor is the endorser, and the grand jury is the individual that's actually reviewing the evidence and allowed to the alleged debt that the claimant is making, which is the state. It's the same workings of a bank, people. Same workings. Same exact way, according to a charge. You see what I'm saying? So just draw the inferences that they're basically doing the same thing that a financial institution does. It's just that on this instance, someone is being held as surety, as a guarantor for the fulfillment of the payment of a debt. So when you have a true bill, it's always signed in blue ink. So when you actually want a person who's giving you or sending you to your address a statement telling you particularly, hey, well, you owe us, and this is why. This is what you request. Show me the wet ink signature, not something that's e-signed, not my signature being forged by a computer. Show me the wet ink signed signature that says that I agree to this in its totality. That is what a true bill is. A true bill means that someone's indicting or blaming or accusing you of something, and basically what you're doing is saying, bring forth the evidence. That's the same thing they do in a criminal prosecution. It's just that they covertly hide it in the methodology of secured transactions, which is basically contract law. You can look up secured transactions yourself. Secured transactions are nothing more to indemnify the real people from acts of forbearance, i.e. in this case, we're talking and discussing fraud. So these people are basically fraudulently accusing you of owing a bill in a positive sense, but requiring you to make a payment. That is fraud because it's misrepresentation. Again, going back to that actual $5,000 amount. Now, let me add more knowledge upon more knowledge. When's the last time you ever seen a $5,000 bill? When's the last time you ever seen a $10,000 bill? When's the last time you ever seen a $30,000 bill? You'll never see one. You know why? Because they don't exist. The only thing monetarily that the society as large has is personally this. You have a $1, 5, 10, 20, 50, and 100. That's it. It goes no higher than that for you. Do they have $10,000 bills? Yes, they do. But that is only for private sector commercial ventures only. Is there a $100,000 bill? Yes, there is. But that is for private sector commercial ventures only. It is not for the general common public. So how is it that a person can send you a statement saying that you owe $5,000? Your idea, your mind is, I'm going to go find increments that equal up to $5,000. You're foolish. What you have the power to do is draw up an actual particular documentation, a bill of exchange, right? A bill of exchange or a tender of payment or the like, and add that numerical value to it. But here's the thing about this. We have to give all sorts of statements on what this equals up to and why it equals up to, and why I am giving you this instead of 5,000 increments of a dollar's value, which is perfectly lawful. So when you understand that this tender of payment is basically it's letting you know that your inability to pay is what pays it. That's the reality. And number two, the reality behind it also is this, that by you giving them that payment, you are secured by UCC 3-603. Boom. So therefore, if they refuse and they wish to proceed any other type of remedy, i.e. take you into court, bring accusation, don't worry about it. Bring your method of payment, bring all of your proofs of evidence, your primary letter, your second follow-up letter as far as notice, if they refuse, and basically bring all your evidences to court, if necessary, if needs be, to dispute the debt. You know why? Because you did everything within your power to resolve it before you even got to court. And what does scripture say? Settle with your adversary before you get to court. So if I'm contesting this, I'm doing my best due diligence to make sure that it's not on the record to say that I didn't fail to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. I gave you relief. You didn't want it. So then you turned it back to me and said, we don't want it. Great. That's all I needed for you to do. Because according to UCC 3-603, it says it's discharged. And you just learned that in less than 14 minutes. Now, I know it might be hard for a lot of people to totally understand this because the indoctrination factor within their education makes them believe that you're actually paying something by reaching in your pocket. Your trust pays for everything. Let's get that straight. You have a trust that is in perpetuity as long as you exist. It's just that the so-called structure of the commercial system has dumbed you down to the point to make you believe that you reaching in your pocket pays for something. It doesn't. Let's get that straight, people. When you actually understand money mechanics, and I suggest most of you who actually are studying do read that book, you'll actually see that everything I'm saying is very much true because it's actually written in positive law. And a lot of people ask me, well, should you be a secured party creditor before you do this? I would suggest so, because just like I made an analogy to someone I had a consultation with earlier today, the individual asked me, I was like, well, let me make a comparison for you. If a cargo ship has on board all of the necessary cargo to make it from point A to point B, and it's secured, it's not going to tip over, whether it run into harsh waves or weather conditions or the like, piracy, whatever, and it makes it from point A to point B, all cargo is on the bill of lading intact, right? That's a secured party in commerce. But let's talk about someone who is a debtor vessel, someone who still goes by the debtor trait or the strawman, the ens legis fiction, the transmitting utility, whatever you wish to call it, it's all the same thing. the corpus, whatever you wish to call it. It's all the same thing. Now, let's just say this person isn't secure. They don't have no UCC1 protection to basically enforce the actual Uniform Commercial Code. Because when you file UCC1, those are the laws you start to go by, not those codes, rules, regulations, statutes, and procedures that have to follow in concert with the UCC. Because the UCC is actually the hidden law that they use against you, but hide it from you so you have no remedy. Now you understand why court clerks and certain officials don't want you to file this, because they have to go by those codes and those codes only, not state statutes, which have to fall into consecutivism with UCC. Now you understand why they don't want to file these documents. It's not because you did anything wrong. It's just because they have no remedy against you when they want to defraud you. And that's just me telling you the honest truth. But neither here nor there. Let's go back to that debtor ship. This debtor ship has its cargo unsecured. It runs into some troublesome waters, piracy of the like. Now this ship either has a quarter of its cargo or none at all. That is the equivalent of operating in commerce as a secured party creditor and operating as a debtor. One's going to make it to dry land with all of its goods intact, and one of them going to get raped. No diddy. But I'm just keeping it real. That's the truth. And this is how you can enforce these codes, because you are going by your financing statement. Because you have to understand the UCC1 is a financing statement. So if it's a financing statement, it's governing all laws in regards to what? Finance. And this is the beginning and the end of all contracts. So with that being said, people, that code saves you from any act of forbearance amongst any one of those actors. Because if they do so act in their so-called fraudulent progression and trying to enforce an otherwise fraudulent contract, you have what's called recourse, which means you could sue for damages and inevitably you'll win. Real talk. So you don't even have to even litigate a case. You just file a claim, make a statement, and let your documents speak for you. You don't have to go back and forth with no argument, because you already provided the necessary remedy that was due, which is your acceptance for value. In conclusion, people, minimize the debt. Stop adding to debt and stop believing that you are a debtor. If you are a debtor, please cut this video off and act like anything I ever said didn't even mean a damn thing. But if you are a secure party creditor and you are an individual who stands in your natural capacity and doesn't want to be used as a revenue base for this otherwise beast system, then it is what it is. You know exactly what I'm saying is very true. However, there will be many who still won't believe what the fuck I'm saying. And so bad for you. Hate to say it, but you're missing out on a great life, a debt-free life, and one where you can tell these fucking pirates to go fuck themselves. But that's just me. Neither here nor there, people. If you wish to consult with me in regards to any matter concerning this video or any other video, so be. I will leave my information in the video description, and I'll leave it in the comment section below. Until then, I'll see y'all on my next upload. Peace, light, love. Y'all take care. Agents, man, fuck you. It is what it is. I'll see y'all soon. I'm out.